Hey friends, thank you for joining me on this Facebook Live video. This is the very first time I'm doing this, so as I get more comfortable with the technology and the techniques, I really do hope the quality will improve even more than it is now. And I appreciate your being here. Hi, Judith. Now, and Bruce as well. Now, what I am, most people know me in my role as the legislation and governmental concerns person for the National Guild of Hypnotists. And I am that. That's a position I hold on the Guild board, but it's purely a volunteer position. I make my living as a working consulting hypnotist. I've been in practice here in Chicagoland for almost 30 years with a strong emphasis on medical hypnosis. But what I actually do is really called hypno-coaching, a merging of the hypnotic arts and sciences with life coaching. This is a certification created by Dr. Lisa Halpern. The Guild does recognize it, and I believe I was the first person to receive the certification. And I find that combining life coaching with hypnosis creates a synergy, and the combination is much more powerful than either one would be alone. On my YouTube channel, I'm going to have two kinds of videos. The first, a hypnotist in his car, which is literally what I make in my car using a GoPro camera on a windshield mount. I make those videos when I'm coming back from one of the 5 clinics I run for cancer patients in the Chicago areas. So those videos are going to kind of be about medical hypnosis or the kind of concerns that people have who are living with a life-changing medical disorder. When I do these videos, which I'm going to call A Hypnotist at His Desk, what I'm going to focus on is more the life coaching kind of thing. And when I listen to a person, a client especially, but really to anyone, I listen through a certain kind of template. I want to share that with you today. It's actually the work of Dr. Don Gibbons, who's a well-known psychological hypnotist. Those colleagues watching, I'm sure you remember the technique called hyperimperia, the use of hypnosis to elevate perception and to increase creativity and creative problem solving. That's Don Gibbons' work. And if you, his books are widely available, including on Amazon. Applied Hypnosis and Hyperimperia probably be the best one to look at. Now, he talks about a technique that he calls Best Me, BESTME. I love this because my view of what I do as a kind of a hypno coach is to help people become a better version of themselves. And so, as I'm talking about being a better self, Best Me really is a compatible and syncretistic acronym. Now, what Best Me stands for is behavior, emotions, sensations, thoughts, motivations, and expectations. If you work with a client or listen to anyone and listen through that template, what you're trying to do is fill in the blanks of those 6 things. What are the behaviors that the person has brought the person to your office? I mean, are they smoking? Is it a weight problem? Are they doing self-defeating behaviors? Are they in conflict with other people? What behaviors are an issue with them? Then emotions. How do they feel? Are they optimistic? Are they pessimistic? Are they melancholic? Are they worried? Are they sad? Are they driven? Sensations is a little bit different. Now, a client who comes in pain is obviously having a sensation, a physiological one. But what's meant by sensation is broader than that. It's almost meaning mindfulness. Is a person present in their life? Are they just on autopilot gliding through? Are they aware of what's happening around them? Are they present in their relationships with their partner? Or are they just kind of taking the partner for granted and not paying attention and that sort of thing? So sensations also means being present in the moment. Thoughts, and I'm going to say more about that today. What does a person tell themselves in the privacy of their minds. What you tell yourself in the privacy of your mind, your inner dialogue, your explanatory set, your explanatory style, as Martin Seligman calls it, that has enormous power to affect how you feel, what you do, and the person you're in the process of becoming. We know that certain explanatory styles are characteristic of people who have certain medical conditions, for example. The explanatory style, the thoughts in your head, are really something that you can, to some degree, control, modify, and amend. Now, years ago, I was speaking. I was once the treasurer of the Chicago Psychological Association, and I was speaking to a group of psychiatrists, and I started to talk about this, and I said, well, we all talk to ourselves in our mind, and they, well, hey, do you talk to yourself, Dr. Giles? Maybe you need some pills, But we all maintain this inner dialogue as we try to make the world make sense to us. And we pick up habits of doing this, and these habits may be very dysfunctional. Now, to correct this, there are a number of tools that one can use. For example, I've kept a journal since the time I was 15 years old. And what I do, I used to keep a physical journal, now it's in the computer. I write about what's happening in my day and how I feel about it. I usually journal in the evening. And then I go back and I read what I wrote. Now, it's amazing how many people write journals and never go back and read what they wrote, but do that. And then you start looking for the negative, self-defeating, self-critical words. And I line them out physically. And then I add, with an underline, the corrected version. And then I go back and I read the entry again with the corrections in place. This is really important to do. Your self-talk is so important, you need to give it a lot of attention and really kind of be impeccable about how you do it. Or also we have a thing we call painted words. Painted words are words that carry an emotional charge. When I work with a client here at my office, when I do the hypnosis, the client is actually attached to a biofeedback device, HeartMath Institute M-Wave. And I'm watching the heart rate variation of the client because I get a constant readout of that on my console. And it's amazing. They can be totally relaxed and coherent, and you hit a painted word for them, and boom, the heart rate goes crazy. And this is something you want to know about yourself. What are your painted words? What are the words for you that carry an internal emotional charge? And if the charge is negative, you want to make it a point to edit those out of your vocabulary as much as you can. So that's important to do. Another thing with thoughts and words is to be careful about how you phrase things. Careful about how you talk to other people. For example, in medical environments, one of the most common questions a social worker or a nurse will ask a patient, well, what's your pain level like? On a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is the worst, how much pain are you in? Well, pain is almost always a painted word. Now, you can put a whole different frame about that by saying something along the lines of, so, what's your level of comfort right now? Where 1 is the most comfortable and 10 is less comfortable. Where is your level of comfort? That's totally different. And I've done this with a person on the biofeedback equipment, and their heart rate variation does not go crazy. They stay relaxed and calm by avoiding the painted words. Now, in my own personal autobiography, I had a childhood that I kind of describe as a train wreck. And so from that, I've got certain painted words for me that are extremely difficult. Any word that suggests I might be inadequate will set me off. So as a result of that, I don't use those words to other people, and I try to avoid people who use them for me. For example, someone might say, well, what's upsetting you, Giles? Well, that's not something I want to hear. A better frame for that would be to ask, so what are the challenges that you're facing? Well, that's neat. Yeah, challenges are good things. So by being very careful about the words you choose and avoiding the painted words, you can do a tremendous amount. So consider monitoring your internal dialogue. It can be helpful to talk this over with a caring friend or a practitioner. Consider using a journal or something like that to kind of edit out the self-defeating, difficult thoughts that put you in a wrong frame of reference. Well worth the time and effort to do this. Now, for my colleagues watching, think about that best me thing again. Behavior, emotions, sensations, thoughts, motivations, and expectations. If you know those things about any one person, you have a very comprehensive view of who they are, but it also shows you where any problems are. Is the behavior an issue? Are they smoking? Is the emotions an issue? Are they melancholic? Is the sensations an issue? Do they show up in their life? Are their thoughts pessimistic or self-defeating? And then the last two, motivation. What motivates them? What makes them get out of bed in the morning and actually undertake effort to do things in their world? That's really important. And expectations. What are they on the planet for? What do they want to harvest out of their life? And if you talk to someone and you realize they don't have any motivation, well, that's a big deficit and tells you where you should start in your work with them. And if you want to connect and build empathy, that's where you should start the conversation. What are their expectations? What do they want to have on their tombstone? What do they want to be in the world if they don't know that? Are they 60 years old and still trying to figure out what they want to be when they grow up? Then that's the kind of place you work for some kind of closure. Hey, thank you very much for listening. I'm going to keep these relatively short so people have a chance to look at them without upsetting your schedule. And I've got to get back to work. My next client shows up in less than a half hour. But please check out my YouTube channel, and I'm going to be here every Saturday at this time. Next week, I'm going to talk about something that comes out of relationship theory. Couples that have a very successful relationship tend to do 5 specific behaviors. They're called de-escalators. They take pressure and tension out of a relationship. And I'm going to talk about those and how you can apply them in the relationships that matter to you. So thanks again for being here. If you want to know how hypnocoaching can help you in your life, feel free to reach out to me. My website is csgiles.org. csgiles.org. Thank you for being here. I'm delighted with the turnout. You've done me a really nice thing today. Take care.